Welcome back to Dead Good Book Reviews. I'm Judith and you're watching another video here on the channel. Today we're doing another listy style video because I like making them and sometimes that's where inspiration lies. And also it's a good opportunity to talk about some books that I don't often talk about or that I haven't talked about in a while. I actually have been planning on making this video since September of last year, which, if you are a person who remembers things keenly, is in fact the month where we got our own little animal companion, the dog. I'm not saying her name out loud because she is over there and she will come over here and interrupt, but I thought maybe to begin this video we'd have a little montage of some of my absolute favourite photos of Luna being weird. Oh, I said her name. I don't think she noticed. I think we're okay. As somebody who didn't have an animal for a very, very long time, who desperately wanted one, I'm one of those people who, basically the reason that I put all of my life savings into buying a house was so that I could have a dog. As one of those people, I took solace in animal companions in books. It's one of my favourite things, and actually, despite it being one of my favourite things, it was very hard to compile a list of books that contain animal companions. But I have scoured all of my various reviewing sites, I have thought long and hard, and I have found some. I dare say that as soon as I finish this video, or as soon as I've edited it, I will remember maybe 10 more. But that is how it is. Let's go with just the list of the ones that I can think of for now. First up, let's just say a quick thank you to Editing Judith for editing in the covers. Thank you, Editing Judith. You do indeed bless us. First up, I have The Bone Shard Daughter by Andrea Stewart. This is an exceptional series, a wonderful book. I have the second one on my shelves just here. It's great. I love it, I talk about it all the time, but one of the reasons that I think it is well worth reading is because it has a wonderful animal companion. There's multiple different points of view, and one of them, Jovis the smuggler, has an animal companion that he discovers as part of the story. An animal companion is called Mephi, and if you haven't read these books, then you won't know what I mean when I just say that Mephi is wonderful. So wonderful. And my wife has actually listened to the audiobooks, and Mephi in the audiobooks is also fantastic. But if you want that kind of slightly mysterious creature vibe going on, which a lot of the animals on this list do have, then I would definitely recommend it. Mephi both brings a lot of plot and mystery into the books and also a lot of fun and mischief. If you want those mystical creature vibes to your animal companions, this is definitely a series I would recommend. They're also just fantastic fantasy books which I will continue recommending until the end of time, unless the third one is terrible. Please don't let it be terrible. Another book series that contains some sort of fairly intense creature companions in a lot of different ways is the Old Kingdom series by Garth Nix. I'm going to be very specifically talking about Mogget, who features in a number of the books, but particularly in Sabriel. Mogget is a cat, and I am not a cat person, but I do appreciate a cat. I think if I weren't deeply allergic to them, I would be more of a cat person. But Mogget just has so much everything. And it's very hard to talk about Mogget without totally spoiling the books, so you'll have to just believe me that Mogget is an excellent animal companion. And I love these series, again, I talk about them all the time, but you've got necromancy, you've got really cool magic system to do with that necromancy, you've got heaps and heaps of books to read if you get into them. I personally think Sabriel is the best, so you can just read the first one and be done with it, but if you want to uncover all of the mysteries around the various creatures, including Mogget, I would recommend reading the whole series. I am planning a read-along of all of them towards the end of this year, start of next year, so watch this space if you're interested in that. I will also, again, recommend the audiobooks. Quite a lot of these, if you like the Companions. Reading the audiobooks is always a good time because you get the voice of the creatures. But if you listen to the audiobook of Sabriel, it's Tim Curry. And if you've never wanted Tim Curry impersonating a magical cat in your ears, I don't know who you are or why you're on this channel. A fairly obvious one, I would expect, but Night Eyes from Robin Hobb's Realm of the Elderlings series. Night Eyes is a wolf. Again, tricky to talk too much about Night Eyes without spoiling elements of the story, but Night Eyes is kind of your quintessential familiar kind of character. Not in a witchy sense, but just that's the general gist of Night Eyes. And what I love about Night Eyes is you get to see Night Eyes in various different stages, both from being a cub to being an old wolf, and it's just... I have a lot of emotions about Night Eyes, and I will not be discussing them here for fear of spoiling the series for you, but I have a lot of emotions. All of the emotions I have, so many, deep, but flames on the side of my face. This whole series contains a lot of animals, which I wasn't expecting when I went into it, to the point where I had to message the person who recommended them and be like, you did not tell me that this was going to happen, and she had to apologise. So if you're a person who's sensitive to animals not lasting as long as humans do, perhaps maybe go in with a little bit of awareness that that's coming, because it's an emotional time, but Robin Hobb writes the kind of companionship between people and animals really, really well. And I think that it adds to the kind of grounding of the series. Even though it's super magical, it roots it back into reality where you're like, I can love a dog like that, so I understand what you're going through, even though I am not the bastard heir to the throne going through assassin training right now, you know? Pivoting away from emotionally devastating into just devastating in the damage that he causes, Saracen from Fly By Night by Frances Hardinge. I love Frances Hardinge's writing. I have a full review up for most of their works, except I think Fly By Night, because I'm waiting to read the sequel, which is behind me somewhere. But Saracen is basically an angry goose. If you wanted the Horrible Goose Game, but turned up to 11 and put into a fantasy setting where there is a conspiracy against the government, Saracen, what I really love is that Saracen just has a habit of turning up exactly when he's not wanted and causing just chaos, and not out of mischief, mainly out of malice. That's just something I appreciate from him. Yes, to a horrible goose. We love him. We love to see it. I have a couple that I've got a lot of question marks next to them on my list, because I was originally envisioning this video as being animal companions, but when I realised that actually it's quite hard to put that list together when I don't read a lot of middle grade, which I think is where some of those really, really good animal companions are. So I ended up going with creature companions and creature characters as well. I think that encompasses a lot of what I want to talk about. So we're not always going to come on to, oh, it's just a cute dog, yay. So, Winternight Trilogy, we have Solveig, who is a horse. I was never a horse girl growing up, but I managed to skip that part of adolescence, I guess. But I have an appreciation for horses and all they do. I wonder if maybe it's because I was taken to the Transport Museum as a child. So the first horses I saw were Shire horses, which I don't know if you've ever been a 5-year-old stood next to a Shire horse, but it's absolutely terrifying. And that's kind of how I imagine Solveig, who is just a lovely companion to our main character Vasya in all of her adventures, and has a connection to the mystical as well that I don't want to get into because it will be a spoiler. But if you want a book with a wonderful horse companion, who again might just break your heart at certain times, I would definitely recommend. This is one of my favourite series of all time. I can't wait to reread it this winter because I didn't have time last year and I'm so excited to do so. But I have a review video up for the series if you would like to check that out. I will link that somewhere. Another kind of creature companion character is Galaim from the Tidechild series by R.J. Barker. Galaim is another sort of a mystery, and what I love about this is that you learn more about the Galaim throughout the series. They start off as just creatures that live on board ships. They aren't liked very much. They're kind of thought of a little bit meh about, and through meeting a Galaim who everyone says is too violent, too dangerous, too terrible to deal with, and by showing kindness and listening to him, and they learn a lot more about Galaim's society, and there's a lot of plot that happens to do with this character, and he's just wonderful. I'm a sucker for I guess it's kind of a quintessential horse girl story of no one will want him, he's too rough to ride, and that sounds dodgy, but you know what I mean in horse terms, and then, oh, a transformation because we showed him kindness and now there is a bond, that kind of thing. I'm a sucker for that, and that in a very strange, somewhat subverted way features in this series. So if you like that, if you're a recovering horse girl, maybe this might be interesting for you. I should have pre-planned this video more. I'm sorry, Luna. This video is dedicated to you and I'm doing a terrible job. I'm so sorry. If you want a whole host of animal companions, I highly recommend Tamora Pierce, but particularly the Wild Magic books. In it we have a mage who can communicate with animals, and it's basically everything I've ever wanted, frankly. There's all sorts of animals that feature, and it is that classic, I can listen to you so I can hear what you want, and I can, make the horses behave in a way that they wouldn't otherwise, and it's just, yeah. It's a good time. Would recommend. I really need to do a full reread of all of the Tamora Pierce books because I want to recommend them more than I do, but I don't recommend them because I'm bad at talking about them, and I can just hear Asher in the back of my head being like, I could talk about these so much better than you. Maybe I'll just get Asher on one day to talk about them. Maybe that's the plan. Nettle and Bone by T. Kingfisher is a recent release that I have yet to film my actual review video about, but I am planning on it. I know I've been saying that for weeks, but I will get around to it. This features a dog, but not just any dog, a dog made out of bones. So we open the book with our main character Mara, who is making this dog out of bones as one of her challenges in order to enlist the help of a witch in freeing her sister from the prince. It's a whole fairy tale shebang, but this book has such like a nice dark kind of spooky edge to it in that the dog is made of bones. Bone Dog is this name, and just wonderful. Just absolutely fantastic. Everything I could want from a creature companion. If I could have a dog made of bones, I would want one. I think it is the ultimate Judith aesthetic. The whole story is wonderful. It's actually dedicated to a strong independent chicken, a bird in a million. Animals do feature. One I again have a video up for, I believe, is the Companions Quartet. If you want a series about mythical creatures, this is the one to go for. There are all sorts of companion creatures. There's dragons, pegasi, sirens, a kraken, everything in there that you would ever want. If you want a middle grade series that deals with mythical creatures, the environment in a non-patronising way, and is just like perfect nostalgic 2007 middle grade vibes, Companions Quartet is one I would go with. I particularly love the dragon in this, the multiple different dragons. It's so wonderful. If you've ever wanted a companion slug, why not read the Skyward series by Brandon Sanderson? There is a slug that features in this. I would recommend it. It's a very cute slug. It's one of those things where the more you read the series, the more you discover about Doomslug is the slug's name. If you are particularly interested in books with slugs, I would check out the novellas, which make an excellent addition to the story. I actually think that book 1 and 2 and the novellas are best. Book 3, take or leave, Cytonic. It's fine. It has the least slug in it, so if you're here for the slugs, that's the one you can skip. That's some YA sci-fi if that's the kind of thing that you're into. I'm just looking to see if there's anything else I want to talk about. What books do you love that have animal companions, creature companions, that kind of thing? Do you have a favourite? Do you have one that you named your pet after? I would love to know if you have got a particularly bookish named pet, just generally. I know at least one person watching has a cat named after a character from Joe Abercrombie's books, which is brave, and it's a very cute cat. If you would like to check out some of those animals, you can go to my Discord where we have a pets channel. Ooh, how exciting. You can also show me pictures of your pets. Please and thank you. While you're down there commenting, if you haven't already, please do subscribe. It makes me feel loved and appreciated, though nothing makes me feel more loved and appreciated than my patrons over on Patreon, who support the channel, make videos like this possible, and get early access to videos and exclusive content. If you would like to join their number, that's linked below. You can also find my Discord that I mentioned and my social media if you fancy following that. That's all from me for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. There's gonna be some bloopers now. What is on my glasses? Check the name, Judith. You can do it. Where is the book? There is the book. Now I was never a horse girl. Now we have Solovey, who is a horse. I was never a horse girl. Why can't I say horse girl?